After seeing Blade Runner 2049, I went to the bathroom, stood next to a couple old men in the urinal, and the guy was talking to his friend. He goes, "Did you take anything away from this movie?" And the other man said, "Yeah, it's a bunch of gobbledygook." We all know how these men felt about Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2049 is directed by Denis Villeneuve. I always butchered that man's name. And is a sequel to the 1982 classic directed by Ridley Scott. And this movie centers around Kay, played by Ryan Gosling, as he uncovers a mystery on a routine assignment. He enlists the help of Deckard, played by Harrison Ford in the very first movie, to help solve this mystery. I was really excited for Blade Runner 2049, and I just watched the very first Blade Runner movie the other day, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie with great mixture. So I was really excited for Blade Runner 2049 without even being exposed to the first Blade Runner, because I love Ryan Gosling, and Denis Villeneuve is a great director. I love Arrival, Prisoners, Enemy, all great movies. So I was curious as to where this movie could go. And Blade Runner 2049 really impressed me and really fascinated me. What I loved about Blade Runner 2049 is that it didn't really rely on the first movie to make this movie. It was focused on new characters and kind of had a connection to the older film. So it held up on its own and was its own film set in the same universe, which I really loved. It wasn't focused on bringing back the characters from the very first movie and focused on piggybacking off of that movie. It focused on being its own and setting its own tone, which is really amazing. The tone in this movie is terrific. I love how it kind of does feel like the previous film. It's a mixture of like a detective film set in a futuristic world. It isn't as slimy as the previous world. It's a little more clean because they have newer replicants in this world and everything is more well done in this new world. But I love that feel of this futuristic world mixed in with a classic detective story, and I really love that combination in this movie and also in the previous movie. It set very well how that mixture was. In this movie, it's still really fascinating. I really love this mystery that Kay is trying to solve. He uncovers something on a routine mission in the very beginning of this movie, and it sets forth the tone and the story for the upcoming events. Not going to spoil this movie, but it's 2 hours and 44 minutes, and it sets it up right in the very first 5-10 minutes of the movie what this mystery is going to be about. And it's not much in the trailer, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but right from the beginning when they kind of unearth this mystery, I was really fascinated and curious about where this movie was going to go. And they do a great job of keeping you up to date and surprised in this movie. You think it's going to be one thing, but then it definitely manages to be something different and kind of changes things up a lot in the movie. There's always something changing, there's always new mysteries, and it always manages to keep you on your toes and interested, which I really love, because this movie is 2 hours and 44 minutes and I was kind of getting restless, but there's always managed to add something new to the film to make you interested. I love the plot in here. I loved how this movie kind of connected to the older film, but it is an interesting film that explored this universe and kind of explored like some philosophical moments as well, like what does it mean to be human? Or what does it mean to be a robot? How can you value life? And I had a lot of fun experiencing those moments. Also, which was really great in here is the cinematography. Holy crap. It was good. It was nice to watch. I love the mixture of colors and some darker colors and some bleak colors. I loved watching this film in the ships and this world and technology. All of it was handled so well that offered such a beautiful film to look at. Mixed in with that beautiful look to the film is a great score. I love this score more than the first movie. The first movie had a memorizing opening sequence with its score, and they kind of changed a little throughout, but this score was loud and it was just like something you would imagine like a movie when you think about like those classic movies like Back to the Future and Harry Potter, how they have such an iconic score. I can imagine like Blade Runner 2049 having like an iconic score down the road. It was so interesting just to hear. The acting was great in here as well. Ryan Gosling was great. Interesting character that I don't want to spoil. I'm not going to talk much about Ryan Gosling. Harrison Ford was really great. He felt like the same actor from the first one who had all these thoughts and like emotions running through his body that's really challenging him to be something different. Then you have Jared Leto, who was very like disturbing a little with what his like thoughts on were his thoughts on for his company. But I really wish they would have explored a little more of Jared Leto's character. I thought he was very fascinating, but didn't delve deep into it like I really wanted it to be. Everybody else in this movie was great as well. The Blade Runner 2049 is an awesome experience. It's a long movie, but the story is great, the characters are great, and I love how they explored this world without piggybacking off of the previous movie. It stood on its own, and it was a fantastic film that explored a lot about life and these replicants and this world. It was a fantastic film, and I'm going to go ahead and give Blade Runner 2049 an A. If you guys seen Blade Runner 2049, what do you think about it? If you guys would like to check out my Blade Runner review, the 1982 Final Cut version, check out my review down below. The link will be down below for that. I did a review with 22 Tiger Dude, awesome guy. Make sure you go check that video out. If you guys like Blade Runner 2049, leave your thoughts down below for that. Also, give this video a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you guys would like to check out my Patreon, it'd be down below. That's a great way to support my channel. You guys are the best as always. This is Just Watch Movies, and you stay classy, YouTube.